My stepmom attacked our kid. What she did next was unforgivable. I mean, I think we're already in the unforgivable territory. Like,
What more could she do?
there is only one way to find out, producer Riley.
Okay. What is that way?
This story. My 28 male stepmother, 49 female, is a wannabe party planner. She has taken it upon herself to plan and host every party and holiday my dad's family has thrown since she married him. I never loved those occasions growing up. She's controlling and gets upset if people complain about anything, but I humored her for my dad's sake. According to him, this helps her feel included.
You know who this sounds like?
Who?
Angela off The Office.
Ooh, interesting theory.
Yeah, like the wannabe party planner, always complaining. Come on.
Everyone in the comments, put Angela if you think that Riley's right, because that might be your best theory take ever, Riley. I'm getting married to my fiance, Jane, 26 female, in July. We got engaged in early 2021, but Jane ended up getting pregnant a couple of months after that with your baby. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, it could be. The stories we read, we don't know. And we decided to postpone the wedding to focus on our son for a while. So we've had a long engagement. My stepmother has tried to hijack our wedding plans from day one, complaining, contacting our planner, showing up unannounced at Jane's dress appointments, etc., etc. And we have repeatedly asked her to stop. Dad wants to humor her, but she's clearly resentful of the fact that she's not hosting the wedding or being labeled mother of the groom in invitations. What do we think about that? What do we think? That's maybe a little harsh.
I mean, if you think about it, she rose her son. Like, she had to see him grow up. She needs to be more involved in this wedding. Like, it's her day too.
Wait, are you serious?
She's trying to plan it. She's trying to get them, like, they're postponing it. I mean, because they had a kid. Like, she wants this thing to be about her. That's what it's looking
the
like.
stepmom.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I thought you were saying that the stepmom was in the right. Like, yeah, just give it all to her. What is Opie doing? I was like, Riley. Besides our baby boy, we also have Luke, 4 male, Jane's paternal half-brother. She got custody of him a few months into our relationship after his parents passed away. Oh, that is awful. I ended up moving in with them during the pandemic and have been in Luke's life since he was a baby. He doesn't call me dad and refers to us as his sister and OP, but we love him like a son. Stepmother, though, hates Luke. She accuses Jane of baby trapping her way into the family. And that accusation only got worse after our son was born. That's not baby trap. Like, literally, that's her brother, and the parents passed away.
What else is she supposed to do? Like, put him in the orphanage? Like,
right? Like, oh, sorry, Luke. My future mother-in-law doesn't like you so much, so we're just gonna put you with Annie, orphan Annie over there. Like, my dad gets along with Jane and adores the kids, but stepmother demands him to refuse babysitting Luke, so we don't have the kids with them often. Okay, stepmom is like, if it wasn't already clear, she's a piece of work.
she's just trying to make the next Batman. That's really what it is. She's like, if I'm mean enough to him, he'll become a superhero.
Doing this for you.
He'll be a billionaire.
Generational wealth and a superhero to save the world. I mean,
It's what Gotham needs.
his stepmom, what Gotham needs. Instead, Jane's brother and sister-in-law usually watch the kids for us as their children are close to ours in age. We had a thing last Sunday and my brother-in-law was out of town with his family. Jane's other siblings live in different cities as well as my mom and sister. My dad agreed to babysit at our place and we left. We came back to find both kids crying, stepmother screaming, and dad weakly trying to calm everyone down. Oh my God. Apparently, Luke had told stepmother that both he and our son were going to be our ring bearers at the wedding, and she went ballistic. She screamed that she wasn't going to allow that because he wasn't family. Oh!
What?
The audacity! Still think she's making Batman over there, Riley? Riley's like, it's for a just cause. Let her cook. She then made me need to include the trigger warning when he stopped crying. His lip is still split open. she'd never gotten to this point before. We immediately banned her from our house and from our wedding. Dad is fuming and has said that he's not going to go without her to the wedding. He also convinced half of his side of the family by severely downplaying what stepmother did to boycott the wedding as well. This includes my stepbrother, who fully agrees with his mother no matter how many times I try to tell him the truth. Me and Jane are refusing to budge, but many of my cousins who aren't coming anymore are asking us to reconsider. Pretty much all of Jane's family agrees with us, but one of her aunts has suggested that maybe stepmother is acting out because she doesn't feel welcomed by my family.
It's like she's putting all that weight of, oh, I don't feel like I'm in the family on the kid. Like that's what it feels like. She's like pushing it on him as.
If I can't be in the family, you can't be in the family. I've honestly had it with my family enabling her behavior. I love my dad and really want him at my wedding, but I am more than willing to go no contact if it means protecting my family. Edit. I think I accidentally deleted the paragraph where I mentioned this, but we did press charges. Wow. Okay, this is getting very serious. We took Luke to the pediatrician the next day and gathered every piece of evidence we had. Not only did we have pictures of Luke's face, but by some miraculous strike of luck, we also had nanny cam footage. Some commenters were right to assume that my stepmom hadn't been invited to our house, but my dad hasn't really gone anywhere without her in years, so we took precautions. We didn't expect her to actually do anything this awful, but we've never trusted her with the kids. The physical attack happened off camera, but there is some footage of her screaming and Luke crying before and after the event. She now has a child abuse charge on her rap sheet. We wouldn't let her get away with this.
Oh my gosh.
Edit number 2. There's a lot of additional info that I want to add. I'll try to respond to at least some of the comments. I did not expect to get the amount I've had so far. All I'll add for now is that Luke is okay. The visit to the pediatrician happened the day after. He already had a counselor. Jane was pretty traumatized when her dad and stepmom passed away and was worried that it might rub off on him, and will continue treatment. We've been hugging and pampering him a little more than usual too. He's still upset, but is already doing much better.
Dang.
Oh God, just a terrible situation. Okay, so Riley, we have big part 2.
It sounds like that side of the family is just a bunch of party poopers, and you wouldn't want them there anyways. Like, as that guy, you would want that kind of support from your dad and your stepmom, like anyone that was a part of your life, and not having your favorite cousins there too. That would really suck.
You know, what'd be really funny is if OP gave the stepmom like a negative review on Yelp for like wedding and party planning. Literally just pastes this story in Yelp. Never planning another party again, that's for sure.
1 star. Dude, that ruined her business, man. 1 star to a new business. It sounds like she is a wannabe, so
it's over before it started. But Riley, I got a big part 2 for you. Are you ready?
Oh, please give it to me.
I will start off by probably disappointing a lot of people. We've come to terms with the fact that it's unlikely stepmom will get anything more than a slap on the wrist. That sucks. That she definitely deserves more than that. Me and Jane are discussing our next move with our lawyer, but we're still not sure how we're going to move forward. It's too early to tell anyways, so we're trying not to get ahead of ourselves any more than we already have. However, I'm relieved to announce that we're going to start the process for a restraining order against stepmom. We're using the same evidence we gathered the week following the incident, including the nanny cam footage and pictures of Luke, and we'll focus on that for the time being. I still haven't spoken to my father. My sister is still in low contact with my dad, but is seriously considering cutting ties with him. Because my sister is the only one on my side that talks to him, my father keeps trying to ask her about me and whether I've calmed down yet. How can the dad not see all of this?
I think he's asking the wrong person who's calmed down.
Exactly. According to her, he's annoyed that half of his family refuses to talk to him, but still doesn't seem to accept why. Because your wife is an evil bee. Bro, it's really so simple. 1 + 1 = 2. Your wife plus she is a monster equals she is a monster. That is the math equation for you, sir.
Just do the math, man.
I told my sister that she doesn't need to keep playing messenger pigeon between me and our father. I never asked her to do it, and it's clearly taking a toll on her, but she insists that she'll stop when it quote unquote feels right. By the way, there's absolutely no doubt whether stepmom attacked Luke. Not only did Luke say it the moment we got home, but that was also confirmed by my father in a failed attempt to defend his behavior. He was there to see the whole thing.
Yeah, he was like low-key trying to calm it down, but he wasn't doing a good job. If he's doing all this work, like he's got to be getting something in return. Like I would be putting up a fight like this if it wasn't that great.
Riley, give yourself the sign right now. There it is. He never tried to hide it from us. That and the fact that he gave Luke an ice bag is literally the only positive thing that I can say about his actions. And stepmother was too busy screaming about how much of a whining brat Luke was being to deny it. To those who guess that stepmom is younger than my dad, you get an invisible cookie. She's also 5 years younger than his previous girlfriend. Okay, here we go. This is the context on their past relationship. They got together when I was around 15. Also, stepbrother is only a month older than me. She turns 50 this year, had him at 21, and married his father a year later. Both our kids are doing mostly okay. Luke's back to running around the house in his Superman costume whenever he doesn't have anything better to do. Love that. He did have a few nightmares this past week and asked to sleep in our bed twice. We don't mention my father around him, and he's still seeing his counselor. Our 14-month son has learned 2 new words, hi and bye. And Luke is trying to teach him to say his name. That is so adorable.
That is cute.
We need a little bit of adorableness in this story. Jane's sister, who moved away for college, is coming over for a couple of days to celebrate her 21st birthday later this month. Luke is excited to see her, and Jane's excited to get drunk with her sister. Can't say I blame her. Honestly, Jane deserves it. Jane freaking deserves a little celebration.
Not out with the gals.
We're hoping her presence will cheer us all up. I'm not doing so good, and neither is Jane. She's usually the kind of person who tries to keep her negative emotions to herself, but she cried herself to sleep almost every night the week that it happened. It breaks my heart to see her like this, and I can't help but feel like this is my fault. There's a part of me trying to tell me I had no way of knowing the stepmother would do anything like that, but that doesn't really change anything. I allowed my stepfather near my kids unsupervised, even though I knew she'd probably tag along. This is the guiltiest I've ever felt, and I don't think I'll ever forgive myself. It's such an emotional thing to be going through,
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's these feelings of guilt are stemming from it.
It's like, what could I have done differently to not let this happen?
Yeah, which is like, that's not on him, ultimately. Jane has been improving lately and is trying to convince me to see a therapist. I've never really done that before, apart from a psychiatrist when I was younger, but now feels like a good time to give it a try. I was surprised by a few messages this week from people telling me to forgive my father and stepmother, as well as reinvite them to the wedding. That's not happening. In fact, I'm not willing to ever forgive the stepmother. My dad has now degraded to a huge maybe, but I will never understand or forget what she did. Also, though the wedding is the last thing on our minds right now, we're not postponing it. We considered rescheduling, but the date we'd settled on is pretty much the only one that works for our guests. We have passwords with all the vendors and gave them all clear instructions not to talk to anyone but us. Jane's family is bigger and closer to each other, which is why they're more involved in the wedding than mine, but I do have family participating. My sister is one of the bridesmaids, 2 of my cousins are groomsmen, and my mom is walking down the aisle with the wedding party. God, I don't know, just such a insane. I think it's probably a smart move to continue the wedding, but it just sucks so much of what the stepmother's done and how that's ruined the wedding and
Yeah. My thing is, though, I'm glad his mom's involved. Since his mom's kind of in the picture, it looks like, why does the stepmother want her on to be included? I don't understand that part.
Right. That is so true, because maybe his mom is listed. He should have mentioned that, by the way, in the story, but maybe his mom is listed as his mom of the groom on the invitation. That only makes exact perfect sense. Going through with all of this, Jane has made me understand even more just how much I love this woman. I couldn't ask for a better partner to start a family with, and I have no idea what I would do without her. This didn't tear us apart, and I couldn't be more thankful. I probably won't make any more updates until after the wedding, unless something big happens. In the meantime, as always, best wishes to all of you. Okay, Riley, we've reached end of part 2 here. We still have the wedding ahead of us. The family is completely split. The stepmother literally has a restraining order. So her attending the wedding is literally against the law now. Oh, how are we feeling? I
think they could turn this around. If stepmother comes up and she's like, you know what? I was in the wrong. everybody comes together, hold hands, and it's just this great wedding. I think that could happen. There's a possibility.
Think it's small. I like your ever optimistic, rosy tinted view of the world, Riley, but I think I might be here to completely shatter all of your rose-colored visions of the world and happiness. I hate it. I hate to say it, but we have part 3.
Uh-oh. Will it get worse?
Riley, don't ask questions you already know the answer to, okay, buddy? Don't do that. I didn't plan on updating again before the wedding, but something pretty huge happened. The good news is that we did get the restraining order. The bad news is that me and Jane both had to see stepmother and my father at the court hearing. This was our first time seeing them since we kicked them out of our house over a month ago, and neither of us were looking forward to it. We left the kids with Jane's brother and sister-in-law, so at least Luke didn't have to see them. The hearing itself went a lot quicker than I expected. I'll give credit where it's due. My father was, at the very least, smart enough to understand there was really no way that they were winning this. There was a lot of evidence against him. So maybe he's siding with the evil stepmom, but he's not a complete idiot. I don't know.
He's saying he was being goofy. He was being goofy.
Maybe that's a big goof. Not only did we have the nanny cam footage and Luke's pictures and medical record, but my sister had also gathered every text and email that stepmother had sent and the family about what happened.
The receipts.
And stepmother hates speaking on the phone, so there were a lot of those. They didn't even bother to get an attorney for the hearing. I have to admit, the moment we left the courthouse was the safest I'd felt since this whole ordeal started. Jane was close to tearing up with joy when we got to the car. We picked up the kids and went to McDonald's with brother-in-law and his family to celebrate. So, the celebratory McDonald's run, you might as well have given each kid $10,000 as an adult. That is the equivalent of, dude, I don't know what it is about those. Like
I'd get them all the time right after a doctor's visit or something like that. I am not looking forward to this. And then it's just like a victory lap. You're like,
dude,
we did it.
Hours later, my father called me. The restraining order doesn't extend to him, so he can still do that. Jane and the kids were in bed, so I answered it. I didn't expect him to change his mind and apologize all of a sudden, but decided to give him one last chance. Big Riley, Big Protein with the big predictions. Riley's nickname is Big Protein, by the way. Comment, Brig. I want to see 300 comments that say Big Protein.
Dude, my ego will just skyrocket.
Yes, skyrocket. He tried to start some awkward small talk, but I told him to get to the point. He asked me if the order was truly necessary. I stated very clearly that stepmother was never coming near Jane or my children again, and that I was glad I had a restraining order to formalize that. Every excuse he had for stepmother was pretty easy to shut down. But she only hit him once. Wow. Okay, hold on. Wow, Dad. Yup, that's enough for me. The kids need their grandma. She's not their grandma. Mom is. She's my wife. You need to respect her. She attacked Luke. She disrespected my family in my own house. I don't owe her anything, least of all my respect. Then he went on a rant about family, how much of a godsend stepmother was, and everything she'd done for me and my sister since she came into our lives. I replied by listing every time I could remember about her lying, overstepping a boundary, or acting unhinged around me, my family, or my sister. I brought up both my adult life and youth. Examples included her attempts to hijack most of our milestones, recently our wedding plans, our son's birth, Jane's baby shower, and my sister's graduation. Oh, she's evil. She's an evil stepmother. This is a Disney plotline. And the obsession with an idea of the perfect family and her disgusting attitude towards Luke. I also made sure to mention her habits of going through mine and my sister's stuff when we were younger. It's trivial compared to everything else, but this behavior went on until my sister moved out of their house only 3 months ago. We're pretty sure she found out Jane's wedding dress appointments by reading my sister's private planner, while she wasn't home, for example. Some of the memories I mentioned are long and hard to explain, but they did cement the fact that stepmother means nothing to me. He tried to go on the whole she doesn't feel included excuse again, but I shut him up. I said he'd had the opportunity to protect his grandchildren, but had chosen his monster of a wife instead. And that's enough for me to want nothing to do with him. I hung up without saying goodbye.
Okay, maybe he doesn't realize the goof up he's made.
No, not at all. Yeah, I mean, I feel like what's happening here, and I'm very curious for anyone in the comments, maybe that's been through a similar situation. I feel like what's happening here is that the dad, still wants the son in his life, but is not willing at all to compromise, and not even compromise, but really just see the reason when it comes to his wife.
And you don't lead with on the phone call, oh, she only hit him once. You don't lead with that.
It just shows you how his view is still completely off wrong and in favor of the stepmom. My sister told me that he called her afterwards and she told him she was going to go no contact with him as well, losing both of his kids to this.
2 for 1.
God damn, that's a BOCO deal you don't want. Okay. I think we're both starting to accept our father won't change. It sucks, but he's made his priorities clear and his children and grandkids aren't among them. For now, that's it. Now that they're fresh in my mind, I'm thinking about sharing some of the stories I reminded my father of. That's going to take a while. Until then, as always, best wishes to all of you. God. Okay. Part 4. I mentioned in my last post, I was thinking of sharing some stories from before I finally got the restraining order against my lovely stepmother and went no contact with my father. Though there were plenty worth writing about, I'll start with one of my sister's favorites. All of the names here are fake. My fiance Jane found out she was pregnant in June of 2021, and we announced it to our immediate families in August. At first, stepmother was completely uninterested in our baby. Not that I expected much from the woman whose reaction to our pregnancy announcement was to ask Jane if she was sure it was mine. God! Even my dad berated her for that one, but she barely seemed to acknowledge the fact that we were expecting. Instead, she was more interested in my stepbrother, who was also engaged and would give her beautiful grandbabies soon. No complaints, we didn't want her involved, and we didn't even have to say anything. Planning our baby showers was complicated. Both me and Jane would have to work until the holidays, and I wanted to be involved. The due date was in February 2022, so we decided early January as the best period of time. We had enlisted 2 people as planners, my sister Laura and Jane's best friend Nina. Me and Jane are mostly laid-back people. We didn't want a big party, nor did we want to spend too much money on it. We were saving for both our baby and the wedding. We decided early on that the shower would be co-ed. It would also have to be indoors, again January, and we settled on a guest list of around 25 people plus a dozen kids. We came up with the idea of a pizza party. Me, Jane, Luke have had homemade pizza nights weekly since I moved in, and we thought it would be fun to incorporate that into the shower. Nina found an event venue with a pizza oven, and Laura figured out ways to incorporate classic baby shower stuff into the theme. Like bun in the oven, maybe? That could work. Right?
Yeah, classic. That's good.
Hey. The resulting plans were awesome. Make your own pizzas, non-alcoholic drinks, and plain bodysuits for the kids to customize. Plain bodysuits? That's
color on them? What?
That's interesting. Nina and Laura mixed pizza decor with baby decor and found pizza-shaped sweets as well. It almost seemed messy, and I was surprised that they made it work, but we loved it. Most of the planning was finished by the middle of November. Well, later that month, my stepmother's fiance left him for her ex. They'd been together for 4 years at that point, and it was both sudden and traumatizing for him. He was devastated. When you're the devil's offspring, people might not want to believe you. Stepmother then realized the grandkids she dreamed of would take longer to come than she thought. So naturally, without her son's milestones to obsess over, she moved on to mine. Suddenly, stepmother went from aloof relative to excited grandma-to-be. Facebook posts, tacky, promoted to Nana t-shirts, the whole 9 yards. At first, we were too busy finishing things up at work and getting ready for the holidays to worry about that, but it didn't take long for her to start pressuring us about planning the baby shower as well as the gender reveal. Oh, we know how this is going to end.
Dude.
We denied the possibility of a gender reveal party. No offense to those who like him, but we don't. Plus, we had decided to wait until the birth to find out the sex. Stepmother tried to get us to find out and tell her as a Christmas present, but we didn't. We also denied her the baby shower planning. She told my father, and he also told my sister Laura, and got her into letting stepmom help out with the plans. She was still living with them at the time, so she didn't have much of a choice. She called Nina and they met stepmother for coffee. Though I wasn't there for that meeting, Laura told me what happened later. Before they could even mention their plans, stepmother started talking about hers. According to Laura, she pulled out a shockingly thick binder, complete with the words, "Okay, baby" on the cover, colorful tabs, and pieces of fabric poking out from her bag, and skipped to the shower section. She has a whole binder.
She had one for her son, and then like, oh, that didn't work. So she just like slapped on the baby's name and was like, okay, here it is for them. That's where she got that from.
And with all of this, like, you know, she's so behind on it. Now she's like going full speed and trying to cram all of her book down everyone's throat. She's like, all right, I'm late to the game. Let's turn to page 476, section A, chapter B. Laura sent me pictures and oh boy. I'll give her this. It looked like the most Instagrammable baby shower ever. That being said, it was also barely functional and obviously expensive. There were balloons, oversized teddy bears, giant alphabetic blocks, and cringeworthy signs everywhere. Stepmother was going for pretty over cozy with uncomfortable chairs and some fancy food ideas that didn't look edible. Most of them had soft cheeses, which Jane cannot eat. Although in defense, like, can she eat pizza if she can't eat cheese? But
vegan cheese.
The color palette was 3 different shades of pink with gold accents. We'd be fine with a pink baby shower if she at least tried to mix things up a little, but stepmother's pictures also looked like Barbie had puked all over Hello Kitty's birthday party. My God. When Nina tried to remind her that we didn't know the sex yet, stepmother said that she just knew it was a girl. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Oh my God. Stepmother also wanted an all-female, child-free party with fancy caterers and alcohol. She had written down a guest selection list containing some of her closest friends. Neither mine nor Jane's own mothers were on her list. And she planned party games no one had any interest in trying out. Basically, the only thing everyone could agree on was the party was indoors. Laura and Nina weren't given an opportunity to show her plans until she was done. Once they could, they explained that while they could find a way to incorporate some of stepmother's ideas, they had already settled on the pizza theme. She tried to protest, but Laura stated that it was kind of them to even offer including some of her ideas, as the shower was a month away and we'd already greenlit all of their plans. Stepmother even called me to try to get them to change their minds, but I just repeated their words back. My dad had found out that he couldn't come to the shower, so he didn't even get a say in anything anymore. The holidays came around and the subject was dropped. Stepmother seemed to be okay with the pizza party. Nina managed to pair some of the pink decor she'd wanted with the matching blue stuff and even got one of those huge teddy bears. So they even did put some of her stuff in then.
Yeah,
it seems like it wasn't even like totally just, you know, not any of stepmother's ideas.
No, but they said we can do a little bit.
Fast forward to a week before the shower. Jane was almost 8 months pregnant. Everything had been bought, all the guests had RSVP'd, and pretty much everything was ready to go. The shower was set to start at 7 p.m. Stepmother offered to get to the venue earlier to help prepare everything. I don't like this.
I don't either.
Laura agreed, mostly because she knew stepmother would complain if she didn't get to do anything, and the venue even let them drop off the decorations before the party. Me and Jane promised to get there at around 6. 2 days before the shower, however, the venue called Nina. They told her that stepmom had stopped by to drop off large, heavy boxes of what she called a little surprise for us. She'd informed them that she'd planned on showing up at 3:30 p.m. to start setting up. They were calling to reinforce that the venue was only booked past 4 p.m. since stepmother almost threw a tantrum when she was told that. All of the decor was still at Nina's place, so she called Laura to check if they'd left anything with the stepmom. Thankfully, my sister is both smart and used to this crap from stepmom, so she drove to the venue the next day and asked to see stepmother's boxes. She told me she wasn't even surprised at its contents when she opened them, but was still shocked at stepmother's audacity. All of the boxes were filled with pink frilly decorations. Some of them seemed to be the exact same items that stepmom had initially showed Laura and Nina. The signs, the balloons, the placemats, everything.
No.
Laura realized that's why stepmom intended to get to the venue earlier, to set up the baby shower she had planned and pretty much force all of us to party in Barbie hell with her. Dude! She called Nina to figure out what to do. Neither of them could come at 4 p.m., so it was almost inevitable for stepmom to get her way. Oh my God, this is like a Mission Impossible like baby shower. Like we have to hit the buzzer at 4 p.m. before the mom. We have to cut the pink wire before she can even get there. The most obvious solution they came up with was to throw everything away. Stepmom's not gonna like that. But Laura had a better idea. That night, they called me and Jane. Hey, want to destroy a party in 2 hours? Laura got home and invited stepmom to go to the salon with her, lying about having coupons. Stepmom agreed, and they planned on going right after stepmom was done preparing the baby shower. At 4 p.m. the next day, stepmom got to the venue. She was done setting things up by 5. I'll admit, the woman is fast. She's awful, but gosh darn it if she ain't good at being evil. And quickly left to meet Laura at the salon. Once they were together, Laura texted Nina, the coast was clear. At that, me, Jane, and Nina went to the venue, and sure enough, stepmom had prepared her party. To make this shorter, I won't describe it, but I will say it was so pink that it almost gave Jane nausea. For the next 2 hours, Laura distracted stepmother at the salon while the three of us quickly took to taking everything down that stepmother had put up and replaced it with all of the pizza party stuff. We set up the activities, made up the tables, and put every pink item we found back into stepmom's boxes. It was actually really fun. We were only done in minutes before the shower started.
Nice.
Bro, I am quaking in my seat to see the stepmom's reaction. This is gonna be bad. A handful of guests arrived before stepmother did, so I barely saw her all night. Laura told me that when she got there, stepmother's jaw dropped as she tried to make sense of what had happened to all of her pink decor. My sister just smiled and whispered, "Nice try."
Ooh.
And went to help Luke customize a bodysuit. Overall, the baby shower was everything we had hoped for. Our friends were there, people had fun, we had a ton of pizza. So I didn't really care that stepmother spent the whole party literally sulking in the corner. Nina did try to catch her trying to put little pink bows on top of the cupcakes, but she quickly shut that down. God, this woman has no off switch. I gave Laura and Nina full credit for saving the day. Stepmother's interest in our baby quickly died after that. She stopped wearing her Nana t-shirts, didn't come to see us at the hospital when she was born, and refused to even acknowledge that he was a boy until she met him weeks later. Up until we went no contact, she was a very loose definition of the word grandmother. I couldn't be more grateful my son will never know her. We have way more context into all of this stuff, but Riley, we have the finale.
Uh-oh, there's more?
The cherry on the cake.
Oh.
Part 5.
Give it to me.
After being engaged for over 2 years, me and Jane finally dumped each other. Just kidding, Riley. Did I get you?
Oh, not another one.
They finally got married last Saturday. We're still getting used to calling each other husband and wife, but we'll get there hopefully. A ray of sunshine in this freaking monstrous storm that they've been through.
They need something like that.
The wedding was awesome. The kids had fun. Our extended families finally met and we danced so much I could barely stand the next day. Kind of like Riley doing 400 squats in a row and then struggling to hold himself up while he's urinating in a toilet. True story. Luke took his ring bearer duties very seriously and held my son's hand as they walked down the aisle. Oh, the cuteness.
That is adorable.
Oh, dude, a tear started trying to make its way up there. Besides my aunt getting shit-faced and being let out on a wheelchair, which I already thought would happen anyways, everything went according to plan. There we go. Okay. We love to hear this. Love to hear this. It's been 4 months since we got the restraining order against stepmother. Things have been mostly quiet, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Except not completely quiet, but we can't always get what we want. I never really worried about stepmother showing up at the wedding, especially after the restraining order. That would be crazy.
That would be nuts.
Let me plan it.
Dude, I really thought like she would just like emerge at the after party, just with decorations ready. Like crazy-eyed.
Miss me. It's been literally illegal for her to come close to us. And we've made it very clear that if she tried, we would call the cops right away. My friends still warned me to take safety measures, most of which I did. Stepmother didn't show up, of course, but I'm a strong believer that any money spent on security is well spent. Wow, he had to hire security at his own wedding for his stepmom. God. So, no regrets in the end. My stepbrother and I wished each other happy birthdays, and he also texted Jane on hers back in June. That's the only contact we've had during these months. He knows that the door is still open if he wants to apologize. My dad has given up on trying to reach me. We haven't spoken since April. He's still trying to talk to my sister for some reason, but she's ignoring him. A few days after she went no contact with him, they had a huge fight over the phone about stepmother's treatment of us over the years. Insults were thrown, sore subjects were brought up, and most importantly, my father took stepmother's side on almost everything. My sister called me crying afterwards. I wanted to call him and yell at him, but she told me not to. She's doing okay now. She hasn't blocked him, but she doesn't take his calls or answer his texts. She's only gotten 3. A weak apology, one on my birthday back in May. A long rant after neither of us wished him a happy Father's Day. After all, despite our differences, he's our father. He's not wrong. I love my father and I always will, but I can't be around him anymore. While I've closed that door, I'm not locking it just yet. He knows what he needs to do if he wants his family back. I don't think he'll do it, but if there's the slightest chance he might, I'll consider opening that door an inch or two. This is my wife's suggestion. I'm a lot less optimistic than she is, but maybe it's important to hold on to that hope. She hasn't forgiven him though, or stepmother. Jane has always been very protective of Luke, so it was no surprise that this disaster shook her. Yeah, I'll say. A part of me was scared she'd blame me, but she called me a dumb when I told her that. Jane is a real one.
Yeah.
I've been in therapy for a few months, and it's helped a lot more than I would have thought. I've realized stepmother's behavior around me growing up was a lot worse than even I always thought, and it's great to finally be able to get my feelings off my chest. Right now, I'm more than happy. I just married the most amazing woman ever, and I have the family I always dreamed of. None of us are perfect, but I never thought life would be this great to me. I'll stick around. Reddit is a lot more than I expected, but I can sleep peacefully now. So it's safe to say this will be my last update on this. Thank you all for the kindness and the advice you gave me over these months. I could have never expected the support I got from you guys, and I can't begin to describe how helpful it all was. Seriously, thank you all. Quick edit, my stepbrother called earlier today. Apparently, he and stepmother had a fight and he wants to meet up. I agreed as long as it was just the two of us. We're meeting up for coffee on Wednesday. I have no idea what to expect, but even if he does apologize, I need to know he understands how and why he let us down. Edit number 2, I rescheduled the meetup. With me and Jane leaving for our honeymoon on Friday, I decided that no matter the outcome of the conversation with my stepbrother, I didn't want to spend the whole trip thinking about it. He understood, and we're gonna talk when I'm back. Dang, a cliffhanger to end on there, but oh man, I'm watching Star Wars right now, like all of the movies through, but
okay.
I'm just like imagining the stepmother as Chancellor Palpatine, the Sith Lord, that's like ruling over everything, and the stepbrother is Darth Vader, and she's like, "You will follow me and build an empire of hate against OP and all of his children and everyone he loves." And the stepbrother is like, "Yo, do I become Darth Vader? Do I take it all back?" And you know what I mean?
Darth Vader does change at the end. Oh,
he did. Oh. It's okay. I already did that.
Okay, good. Whoa. Oh, gosh.
Right? I would have been like, fire. So we have a lot to dissect in this story. Maybe a few questions come to mind for you, Riley, and everybody watching. One, was OP right to cut his father out of his life?
My question is, what could the stepmother and stepbrother said to each other for the stepbrother to reach back out? Like, do you think he finally turned around, or is he like what the dad did, where it looked like he turned around, but on actuality, he was like kind of like trying to be like, oh, the stepmother's still a good person.
Definitely. Yeah. So let's answer each other. So what do you think OP should have cut off his dad and gone completely no contact?
I mean, yeah, it just seemed like the right thing to do. Like right after they got out of court, he called him and he was like, okay, this looks up, you know? And it wasn't. He was still like, why are you not seeing her as a good person? That right there. And he's not seeing how horrible she is. Like, she like beat up a kid and has a restraining order. Like, What else?
See reason, bro. What else do you need?
I think OP's sister has been having a really hard time with the dad too, and it just seems like he's like being very stubborn, and it just to a certain point you just can't handle it, and no good conversations will come out of anything going forward. You know, like if he can't get past this, there's really no reason to continue a relationship, which it sucks, but it makes sense.
Totally. And I also like, I wanted to point out, OP basically said like, I still love my dad, but I can't be around him and the door is not locked. Like there is always a way potentially back in. And I think that's a very like, because, you know, so often in the stories, you know, we have like the divorce chant, like the no contact chant, you know, but like it is a really, it is a really hard thing to like let go of your father.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, yeah, I mean, I think the stepmom just did her thing. She just did her trademark classic TM BSery to the stepbrother, and probably like maybe the stepbrother started questioning her on all of the stuff that she did like more, and she was like, "Why? You know, why don't you trust me?" Or probably went off on him. Maybe like we know how she goes off on people, and then he's like, maybe that is like breaking the glass for him.
Yeah, because with the stepbrother, he was kind of deemed like the golden child because the stepmother was like, oh, he's about to have my grandchild and it's going to be such a happy family. And then once like the stepbrother's fiance left, I guess in a way that role was taken away from him. And now it's like, I guess he's still kind of dealing through that with the stepmom of like, I almost had your grandchild. And then she like really like flip-flopped on him and was with the other family because she was like, I don't want anything to do with your kid. And then all of a sudden she was like, I want something to do with your kid. And he like must be feeling a lot of like wishy-washy with the stepmom.
But yeah, dude, a lot of things in this story. We need you all to throw in your opinions. Was OP right for cutting off the dad? What do you think the stepmother said? Have you had any similar experiences like this? We definitely want to hear all of your comments. Thanks for chilling with me and Riley in this solo episode, and we'll see you next time.